when we got the diagnosis, I just remember sitting in the room with our genetics counselor, who we had gotten to know so well, and she's still one of our, you know, go-to people for, you know, the support that we had. And I'll still, you know, reach out to her occasionally and just thank her for what she did. And she really kind of took those big words and like made it understandable for us. So I remember sitting in the room and she told us, and I remember looking at each other being like, he's the seventh. Like this is like, this is like beyond. And we were kind of like laughing about it. Like, what? Like, it's so crazy to think. And, you know, we also found out, because as with so many diseases, there's a whole spectrum, and he was on the very severe end of it. And at that time, no one past the age of 1, I believe, had survived with the severity. So he was, you know, leading the way. He was the oldest known to have this mutation with all these symptoms. And, you know, it's obviously super scary. But at the same time, it wasn't changing much in terms of Quinlan. I know as, you know, a mom and wanting to have more kids, that was a big question for us, was, you know, what do we do now? Because we want to have another baby eventually, and how are we going to make this work? And so we talked to so many of our new nurse friends and genetics counselors, and they all said it's possible. You know, it can happen. And luckily for us, it did happen. We did IVF with all the genetic testing. And, you know, our first round, we were so lucky. And we have August now, who's 2. And
going on 15.
And but you know, that was, it was kind of like, I kind of put it into 2 categories, like the diagnosis of Quinlan and then the diagnosis of what that means for us and our family. So,
well, for me, sitting in the room and getting that news, you know, the little like, oh wow, only 7 kind of stopped really quickly when you realize that you could possibly only have a year with your child, no matter what he's going through. And I remember we walked out, both silent, went to the parking garage, and I went to the corner of the garage and cried for like half hour, 40 minutes. And, you know, those are moments that you're never going to forget as a parent, no matter what happens. And after that, for me personally, I had to get over the almost like guilt of like, well, was this my fault? And then realizing, you know, on a deeper level, as far as the genes go, you know, it's nothing I can do about it. So I had to get over that on a personal level. But with the support of this lovely lady here, definitely, you know, right under my mother is the strongest woman I know. And she doesn't like to hear it, but I'll say it until I turn, you know, older and grayer.